topic for today's session is organization of Salesforce. Now, organization means that you create an organization where you have a simple arrangement and there's a structure for working involving the people in the organization, assigning particular tasks and responsibilities to those people who are involved in the organization. Bringing about this total arrangement is basically organization. Now, the goal to arrange all these activities in proper order and to involve the people in the best way that can be done is the objective of organizing. That is, whatever the individual are performing the work, if a total structure is prepared, then the total effort would have a synergistic effect, and the sum total of the work that each individual is doing would be much more if they are working together and knowing exactly what to do and how to do, whom they are reporting, what activities exactly they are having, what responsibilities they are having. And bringing about this total structure is organizing. Now, in an organization, every manager, for that matter, organization is a basic management function like planning or maybe even control. Organizing is also a basic management function. And for that matter, all managers perform this task at some level or the other, organizing. Now,
Ma'am,
yes.
as you just said that organizing is a basic management function and all managers perform it.
Yes.
So then why is it necessary to study organization of sales in detail?
Okay, good, really. You have a point that then if we have total organization, we are studying about it, then why in details we need to know about something about the organization of the sales department per se. First of all, we must realize that when we are talking about organization of the sales force or the sales department, it's very important because the impact of the organization of the sales department is very crucial because it has a direct impact on the performance of the field sales manager. And sales is such a function because it is this sales people, the sales force, who are bringing in the revenue to the company. So, if here there's any lapses in the organization, then the total source of revenue, that is the sales which is coming in through the sales people, the sales department, is going to be affected. So, if you have understaffed or even if you have overstaffed, both way it is going to affect. So, we must be able to have an optimum structure in the organization so that continuously we are able to maximize or rather have a critical situation where we would get the maximum effort or the result from the sales department. And that is why we need to establish a structure in the sales department very well, looking into all these aspects so that there is neither any wastage of time and effort, nor there is any overlapping of any activities. Now, let us see what exactly are the tasks of a sales organization. That means by organizing a sales department properly, what are we achieving? First thing that is a maintenance of order in achieving the sales force goals and objectives. That means by organizing, this is the first thing that we are going to achieve. Second thing is that we are going to assign specific jobs and activities and also assign the responsibility to the individual people who are in that particular post. And thirdly, of course, organizing brings about an integration and coordination between all other management functions so that the organization or rather the functions can be performed properly. So, when we are doing all this or creating the structure of the organization, 2 or 3 very important things are required. That is, first of all, we must understand how we develop this sales department organization. So, when we have assigned the task, two, three more decisions are very important. Like, first of all, we have to decide on what should be the span of control. We have to decide on the extent of centralization. We have to decide on the degree of job enlargement and enrichment. And finally, of course, on the consistency and coherence. Now, can you tell me what you understand by span of control? You must be having some idea about it.
We could say, ma'am, span of control is the number of people who are working under a manager.
Yes, you have well defined it. It is exactly that how many person a single individual can manage. So, how many subordinates he can actually handle is the span of control of that individual. Now, this span of control needs to be determined because that means at what level, say suppose you are having an assistant manager who has 5 sales representatives under him. Now, when you are expanding the market, it could be that you are including more sales people under you. Now, how many can you're adding 2, 3, 4. So, from 5 it has become 8, 9, 10. Now, a person who is managing 5 people, can he manage 10 people also with same efficiency? That he may not be able to do. Maybe he can have 10 people under him, but they will be either under supervised or maybe their work. So if they are under supervised and they are not given proper direction, then again their performance level will fall. So for every individual, there is a level or number of people which he can really control, and that is span of control. When you are growing, your organization structure also can change. So that is what we were saying. Continuously we have to review to see what is the span of control. Also to see what is the extent of centralization. This also the company has to decide. That means centralization means all decisions being taken at the top level. The more decentralized the organization is, more decisions are taken at the lower levels. So that also needs to be decided, because when we are actually organizing the structure that we are creating, we are saying that what tasks and responsibilities and authority that you are giving is determined by the extent of centralization. Another very important part is the degree of job enlargement and job enrichment, which actually tells us that what are the different activities. So if you are enlarging the job, that means at the same level in the organization for the same person, you are giving him some more tasks to be done. And job enrichment is when you are giving him more authority to take more decisions. So it's vertically, he is getting more authority, whereas job enlargement is horizontal. So this, if you are enriching the job, that means it becomes more decentralized maybe. Whereas enlarging job, there it is sometimes required because from routine jobs people get bored and you require to enlarge the job capacity. So in this again shows that you need to continuously monitor the organizing that you have done in your sales department, and sometimes job enlargement are done by giving, say, maybe a bit senior salespeople are given assignments to coach and help out junior ones, or maybe they are given a different territory so that they find more challenge in the job. So these are all different types of job enlargement that needs to be done, job enrichment needs to be done. So this is also a part of organizing. And that is why we were saying it's not a one-time job when we create a structure. You have to continuously review and monitor it. And finally, of course, the consistency and coherence part is again very important. So because if you have thought about having a decentralized structure, you cannot say that authorities will not be given or your span of control is very less. More for decentralized organization, you'll find it's more flatter, where you have more people, less hierarchy and more people. So this is how the total sales organization is developed, and once it is developed, it is not an end to it. You have to keep reviewing it to see that it is giving the actual maximum output for achieving the sales objectives and the goals. So we'll have a break at this point and we'll come back after that to discuss some more things. So after the break, we have come back. So now we'll discuss about the different types of sales organization that can be there. So primarily we have, based on different bases, the different structures are created in the sales organization. One such basis on geographic consideration. So it's known as geographic specialization. We have customer specialization and product specialization. So let us see how the structure of the organization would look like if we have geographic specialization. Now, geographic specialization means you can understand very well that it is based on geographic considerations. So the total market, whatever area it is covering, is broken down into smaller parts on the basis of geography. So at the top, we would have maybe the general sales manager. So you can see the chart and you'll understand. At the top, we find the general sales manager, and under him we see there are regional or zonal sales managers. So that means the total part is divided into different zones, and each zone is being headed by a zonal or a regional manager. So under each region you could have again divisional managers. So maybe the total northern region is divided into broad 3 divisions. And under this 2 or 3 divisions, you will have, say, district managers. So these district sales managers are coming under the division sales managers, and district sales managers typically could be handling each district within that division. And under the district sales managers, you can have again sales personnel would be there. So what we find is here we have the total structure based on geography, and we have broken down each into, so we are assigning, so while we would assign the activities and the job, that means when we are saying that it's a regional manager, say north, everything regarding sales in that region would be his responsibility. So he would be accountable for everything. So under him, all these people who are there, he is actually delegated the authorities to them, but is finally accountable for them. So this is how the total structure would look like if it is based on geographic specialization. The second type of specialization that we were talking of is customer specialization. Now, customer specialization sometimes is also termed as market specialization. We see that this is also becoming very popular, especially for many large companies and MNCs, where they are trying to see that if they are having the structure based on customer characteristics. That means we often see that there are different types of customer segments to whom the company is selling the products. And each of the segments would have typical characteristics of servicing their requirements, how much they would buy, quantity, quality, even the type of, maybe the same product is same, but with different specifications. Like maybe if you are into computers, then it could be that individuals would be looking for PCs, whereas the minis or the mainframes would be mainly institutions who would look for it. So the total thing is based on what the customer's requirements are, and their service requirements are also different. The way they want to be serviced is different. So in that sort of a scenario, it is ideal to have departments or the structure of the sales department based on customer. We often find, so you can see the chart for this. Here we have an example where we have under the general sales manager, 3 sales manager, each of them looking into 3 types of customer groupings. One is handling the major accounts, the other is handling small businesses, and the third is the institutional markets. Now here what we find is the total purchase process for institutional market is different. Many of the institutional markets go through tendering. So to service them, it's completely different way of selling. Whereas when you are going for major accounts, they look for personalized service, and you need to have some sort of a long-term relationship, try to maintain customer relationships with them. So they require another sort of servicing. So in this sort of a scenario where you have the customer groupings, their requirements are different, you can have it based on. So what is happening when we are talking about the sales manager of each of this account, they would be selling all the products to the same customer groups. So taking the way, sometimes there can be in the same geographic area overlapping. That means you are having one manager who is looking into major accounts, and the small accounts or the institutions could be in the same geographic area. But here we are not having groupings according to geography. We are having according to the customer specification. This can be based on industry also. So here we have mentioned about the small business, means depending on the size of the business, this classification has been made. Sometimes industry wise also it is made. So suppose someone caters to petroleum, someone caters to steel, someone caters to chemicals. So in that way, because again industry wise there are certain characteristic features which they would like to be serviced according to it. The third type of specialization is product specialization. So here again you can see, if you see the chart, at the top level the general sales manager, and it is primarily divided based on the products. So if you have different types of product for the same company, where the type of product is quite different from the other, then you can have based on product. So here sales manager product A, sales manager product B, sales manager product C. So you're according to the product you are having. So what would happen is sales manager product A, he is responsible for the total sales of this product in the total market. So whoever may be the customer, whether small, large, big, whatever, wherever, means he could be situated at any place, location. But the total sales is his responsibility. So this is how we have product specialization.
Should a company have a single or a combined base structure?
Yes, very good. Actually, we were talking about single base till now. So if an organization is having a single base, it can have a single base and it can also have a combination of bases. When we find that the organization is very large, then we often find we combine the geographic specialization with maybe product specialization or customer specialization. So why you find is that, say suppose a sales manager of product A, under product specialization concept, he or she would be responsible for the total sales of everything of product A. Now, a single manager, suppose in a country like ours, which is quite a large country, and geographically also it is very distributed, and you have different geographical situations in the country, there it's not really possible for a particular only one individual to handle everything. So here you could have at one level you have geographic specialization, and at the secondary level you have product specialization. Now let me tell you something about the current trends of the organization structure that is coming up, and here we find three things I would like to mention. One is the strategic business units structure, which is known as SBUs in short, and SBUs are nothing but where under you these strategic business units become individual, or rather operate like individual companies, looking after everything on their own, only that the top management responsibility is to see how this business unit is functioning, and the total control is with the top management for allocation of funds, etc. But the total functioning is independently being done by the units. So often where there is a large number of products in a company, or the company is very big, we organize into different SBUs and become much more structured so that our performance is better. The second type is matrix structure. where we have a combination of, say, product specialization and customer specialization. This typically exists in organizations like, say, consultancies, where what is happening is you are working in a team where, depending on the customer, for each work, depending on the customer and the product, here it's a knowledge product that we are talking of if it is consultancy, accordingly you form teams and you go in for it. So this is not based only on product or only on customer, it's a cross match, and we have a grid type of structure. In each level we have different teams to operate where you can go in for it. So all sorts of project works and consultancy works, this typically follows a matrix sort of a structure. And finally, this independent sales organizations are also coming up very fast, especially in sales organization. We find that they are outside the organization, sales department, and they are given the responsibility of selling on behalf of the company.
Ma'am, should all multi-product companies go for a strategic business unit?
Not that all should go for it. If you have a very large number of products and your products are, some of the products are quite related, that means the product lines are quite distinct. Suppose you are having consumer durables like washing machine, televisions, etc. as one group of products, whereas you are also having certain products like say toiletries and say lotions and powders and body powder, etc., etc. Then you can group these two types of different products into under two different units. Like, say, Wipro also has software, also has BPO, so, and also has your consumer durable consumer products. So they could be having different SBUs, which would come under. So similar products, if you have a large, there are companies who have hundreds of products. So what you do is you group similar products into one product line and bring it under one SBU, so that it becomes easy to monitor and each of the product is given proper attention. If you have too many products and only one person is there ultimately to see to it, then all products, all brands do not get proper attention and they are neglected and you cannot get the best out of it. And finally, of course, another very important thing in sales organization is trying to determine the size of the sales force, which is the total size of the sales department. So this is an important decision which needs to be taken, because this would establish the total selling effort that can be given to bring in the revenues. And also the total, as I mentioned before also while I was explaining the span of control, that the total size actually determines the levels in the organization also. If it is very large in size, you have to have a span of control, as there's a limited span of control, you have to add additional layer in the hierarchy. So it's very important to determine what should be the ideal size. And this could be done by different methods. Once we have the marginal analysis, we have the workload analysis, we have judgmental method and quantitative methods. So these are the different methods. So for sales force organizing, apart from actually establishing the structure, determining the activities and the responsibility and the authority, assigning them to those individual person, and establishing a coordination and integration system, the actual determination of size of the sales department is also equally important for the organizing. So do you have any questions regarding this? Okay, thank you.